Oh my goodness. Oh my damn.
So you're gonna watch it with Stud, maybe?
Well, we have a movie club. So I need 10,000 for Black and Red.
Okay, but
That's
you didn't
daunting.
answer my question though.
Yes and more?
Well, no, I'm just asking. Are you gonna watch Pitch Black with her Saturday?
If she chooses to join, yeah.
Okay, that's all I was asking.
Oh, hey, I don't remember getting any more of that.
How did your movie club thing work exactly, by the way?
Just, every Saturday at around 6 to 7 PST. I stream a movie on the server. Or a TV series if it's short enough, or we don't really have a lot of.
Movie.
I'm the
Option.
autocrat. I decide what happens.
Are
What I say goes.
you gonna try to go for all three movies? Or four, if you count that animated one? For the
I didn't know there was a fourth one that wasn't the animated one. I don't think.
well, the
I don't.
fourth,
I don't know.
the animated one is.
It's been so long, I wouldn't remember, to be honest. I thought the animated one was the second one, and then the third one was live action again, and
Well,
I wasn't aware of another one after that.
Well, the animated one was the second one. It talked about the connection from Pitch Black to Chronicle of Riddick. It explained what happened in between.
The last Riddick movie I saw from the series, because I thought it was a trilogy only, I think, was the one where he ends up killing the chick and like becoming the emperor or something.
He killed the emperor after the emperor killed his chick, basically.
Oh yeah, and
Which, by the
was
way,
that the third one or the fourth one?
That is, if we're counting the animated one, then it is the third one. If not,
then I haven't seen the fourth one. I didn't know there was a fourth one, so that's one I haven't seen before.
Well, okay, like I said, if we're counting the animated one,
I do, because I grew up counting it.
Well, the animated one, it just
even if some people don't like it.
It just brings the connection about it, because in the one that you saw, the last one you saw, it talks about how that girl, who is the same kid from Pitch Black, and how they say that he owes it to her, that she saved his life at one point. In the animated one, she ended up saving his life at one point, so that's how it explains that. Riddick is the next one that you haven't seen. It's just called Riddick. And it kind of goes back to a similar setting of Pitch Black, basically.
I can see why.
And, well, I mean, it goes into a similar setting of the environment and all that. And it even has to do with the two parties. I love the wanted note for his bounty. Wanted. So, this set amount, like, let's say it's 10,000, whatever, alive, and 20,000 dead. He's worth more dead than alive. I'm just sitting here and I'm like, you have to be a real fucking badass to become worth more dead than alive. Like, holy shit, the level of damage you have to do for that. God damn. But actually, what is talking to that is, do you remember in Pitch Black there was an officer that had Rick arrested and that he was holding him captive, basically, that was transporting him? The officer that was transporting him? Or do you just know of the officer?
I haven't seen anything Riddick related since I was in middle school or something.
Well, I'm asking if you remember it. It's in Pitch Black. I'm just asking if you remember it. If not, then...
No, okay. It's literally been a decade. I remember Vin Diesel, cool plot about aliens, liking the movie, seeing it twice.
Well, Well, all I'm gonna say is the person that had him
It
arrested.
really wouldn't matter to me until I watch them again.
Okay, well, we're just gonna say the person who had him arrested and all
But
that.
why?
It had that character is important in the.
But I have to rewatch it. Like,
Well, yeah,
either you're gonna spoil it or you're just talking to the void.
I'm just saying he's the important character in it to the next one.
Where's the space station at? All the way over there.
I definitely rewatch it again. If you, how are you gonna watch it anyway?
I don't know.
I think I still have the collection in my DVD. Gotta go check and see. If you watch the Chronicle one, watch the theatrical version of it. I personally think it's a little better.
What's wrong with the other versions?
No, it's just longer. There was some extra scenes that I thought
The
made.
theatrical version is longer?
Yeah, the theater version.
Why are you trying to bring me to the anomaly?
Oh, I thought you. I was
Go
like,
to the
I'm
space
not.
Station, not the anomaly. Thank you.
That's what the anomaly is.
What other
It is
versions are there other than the theatrical one? Because I figured the theatrical release would be the shortest.
No, theatrical is the longer one. They're always the longer one. They're the one that cut.
Wouldn't
that
like
have to
the
cut out.
uncut version be the longer one? Isn't
Yeah.
theatrical the version released for theaters? Isn't that why it's called theatrical?
Yeah, the theater one is longer one though.
So, does that mean they'd release it on DVD with a shorter version than what you'd see in theaters?
Yes, although I don't think it ever made it into theaters though.
Then why is it called the theatrical version? I don't get it.
It's the same thing they did with the Lord of the Rings. Like they did it.
No, but the theatrical version of Lord of the Rings, the one shown in theaters, was shorter than the uncut
No, it was the
director's
longer.
one.
No, it was the longer one.
They didn't show whatever a third of 13 hours would be in theaters. That's too long.
Dude, the one that I have, you know, the movie that I have when I bought the theater version, those are the theater version that are the one in the theater.
Why would they ever? How is
That's
there
what
more
they-
than one version then?
The director cut that has even. There is a director theatrical version, a director's uncut.
You know what? Screw it. You're being confusing. I'm just gonna Google it. Fuck.
I'm just. I'm not able to give you a straight answer, other than what I know.
The theatrical cut is the version of the film that was shown at cinemas. The director's cut is the version edited by the director, usually for additional home media releases. An extended cut is usually any version of the film which is longer than the theatrical cut, though in very rare cases it's shorter. How is the extended cut shorter? Okay, whatever. So if we're saying Lord of the Rings movie cuts, the original theatrical cut was 178 minutes. The extended edition is 208. So the theatrical cut is the shorter version. Okay, so what about Riddick?
Well, wait. You gotta type
Movie
Chronicle of Riddick. Chronicle
cuts.
of Riddick. I don't know about Riddick. Riddick is the fourth movie.
If the concept is sound, it wouldn't matter what movie we're talking about.
No, Riddick is the name of the other movie. It's just Riddick.
Again, if
nothing
the concept of the cuts and how they work is sound, it wouldn't matter what movie we're looking at.
Never mind. You're not listening to me.
Are you listening to me?
Oh, I am, but It's not gonna show you the right stuff. Never mind.
What would it show me differently?
It's just gonna show you the stuff for the Riddick one. If you're looking for the
What stuff? Either the concept of the theatrical version usually being shorter than the extended or director's cut is going to be sound, or it's not.
They didn't do it for Pitch Black, any additional version. They just did one version for Pitch Black. They did a different version, 2 different versions for Chronicle of Riddick. Chances are they've probably done multiple versions for the Riddick one. So, it's going to be different, each one. You are trying to figure out which one for
How is it going to be different? What kind of stuff is it going to show me? What am I looking for? What do you think I'm looking for?
Seeing which one's longer?
No.
And what the heck are you looking for?
Whether or not the concept of the theatrical version being solely what would normally be shown in theaters and also shorter than the director's / extended cut as a concept, whether that is accurate the way I think it is or the weird way you tried to explain it, which didn't make sense to me.
I thought you didn't you already get the answer from when you just read last though?
In the conversation, we brought up 2 specific franchises, and the way you tried to explain it to me made it sound like one franchise did the exact opposite as what I would expect from the cuts being named the way they are. You were telling me that the theatrical version of Lord of the Rings was the longer edition than the normal one that you would expect to get in like the disc set or something.
It was.
It wasn't. It's the shorter version. Because it's the normal version is the theatrical release, apparently. The extended and director's cuts are the special longer versions. At least in the case of Lord of the Rings. Apparently, at least when you look at the definition, it specifically says that there, I guess, or implies there could be exceptions where the extended version, quote unquote, is shorter than the theatrical release, but that does not appear to be the case, at least most of the time, or specifically with the Lord of the Rings. So I'm checking with the other one we mentioned in the conversation to see if that's consistent. I'm not looking for any magical stuff. kind of wish uncut movies were longer, like on average.
Uncut movies tend to be.
Not in comparison to the other versions, but in comparison to what they are in reality.
How are you talking about? What?
I wish that the uncut versions of movies, or the extended versions, were longer than they are.
By how much?
A lot. More than they are now.
Do you just wish movies were longer periods?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I understand a theater movie being shorter, because I wouldn't want to sit in a theater for that long. At least not with like an intermission or some shit.
So basically, you wish Lord of the Rings was released as a 6-part movie?
You know, Lord of the Rings is a single individual movie, and I wish it was acceptable for movies to be that long.
No, I mean, like Return of the King. You wish that was, instead of 2-part when they did it in the theater, that it was what? 6-part instead?
I wish all 3 of the movies were one big movie. Just called The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, then we would never have Marathon. But that would mean they probably had The Hobbit.
You would still have a marathon because it would still be the same length.
No. It would just be one movie.
Would it still be a marathon if you cut it up into individual scenes and released that over the period of like 5 years? It's still the same amount of fucking time.
It might be
Yes.
still.
What's your logic for a marathon then? Because
Separate
you're
things
you're
done
now
together.
implying that it can't be a marathon if it's all condensed into one thing, and it can't be a marathon if it's a bunch of tiny things. Where do you draw the fucking line?
I was gonna say, if you let me finish, is that no, it wouldn't be done just as if it was over the years. It's the fact that if there's a bunch of things done in one go, basically.
The movies were released over a period of years, longer than 5. I'm pretty
know.
sure. So how does that still qualify as a marathon now?
It didn't at that time.
How does its release plan affect marathoning?
Let me finish. You asked me a question, so let me finish, okay? It wouldn't be when it's like the gap of space in no time. It would be when you watch each movie at once. If it's all one movie, like if it was all smashed together as one movie, it wouldn't be a marathon. It would just be, we're watching Lord of the Rings. If we're watching, hey, like I got all 3 movies, like we're gonna go see the new one that just came out. But before we see it, we're gonna see the other 2. That would be a marathon. We're watching 1, 2, 3 different things and all.
They're not different, though. It would still be the same exact fucking thing under one umbrella. Or, if you want the other version, it would be like 300 fucking little scene clips that you just watch all chronologically in one series. And apparently that's still a marathon because it's divided. Because you want to divide it arbitrarily for no fucking reason.
That's part of the marathon, though. You do that.
Nothing would change.
Did you ask me a question? You're just not liking my answer. I gave you
I'm asking you rhetorical questions because you're not making sense.
I've given you my answer. I've given you my answer. You don't like it? Fuck it. Don't. Take it then.
When you run a marathon, do you run like a mile and then do the next mile the next week? Do you divide marathons into sections normally?
That's different.
No, it's not.
No, they're the same word, but
It's
they are
all
different
one
things.
thing. And it's still a marathon. A marathon does not imply any separation. The separation is arbitrary. How you quantify it is arbitrary and superficial. If The Lord of the Rings was packaged on one disc, and it was just called The Lord of the Rings Trilogy, but it was one disc, and you could watch all of the content all the way through without like a menu or you having to switch discs, it would still be a marathon because you're watching a really long thing. It's still a marathon because you run a really long distance.
If we never made it into a separate thing, and we called it one thing only, then it's just Lord of the Rings. It's not. We're not going to call it Lord of the Rings Marathon. We'll just call it.
You wouldn't call it a Lord of the Rings Marathon normally anyway.
Yeah, I would. If I'm going to say, if I say,
you do that for fun. It doesn't mean anything because it doesn't change the content you're consuming. If you watched it all on one disc, you'd be doing the same thing as watching it on 6 discs without switching the fucking discs. There is no difference. I have not asked you a question expecting you to actually answer because your answers are pointless.
You asked me a question and you just didn't like my answer. So if you don't like my answer, stop. Just stop. Okay? I get it. You don't care about what I just thought, okay? You are trying to force your opinion.
I care about what you think. That's why I'm trying to tell you why this doesn't apply.
You cared about what I think, but then you're forcing me to change how I think. You don't like
I'm not forcing you to change how you think. I'm trying to correct how you categorize this shit.
You're trying to categorize. You're trying to force how I categorize. Look at you. You're trying to change me right then and there.
What would you call the number 4 5?
That's not how it works, dude.
That is exactly the angle I'm taking this from, and you don't understand it. No, what would change? Why would you remove the marathon word? What would that do?
If I remove
how would it affect the experience?
One thing. If I said, hey, let's watch The Lord of the Rings, it either implies that I'm saying just one movie, right? Or I'm implying in that in your case, what you're saying that it was all one thing, it would be one thing. When I say more Lord of the Rings marathon, I'm implying all 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
When you say The Lord of the Rings, you are implying the franchise. That does not just mean one movie.
Okay, so that includes The Hobbit too?
The Hobbit is not The Lord of the Rings.
It's part of it.
No, it's in the same universe. It's not The Lord of the Rings. Completely different book. No, it isn't. It's set in the same world.
Hobbit is the pre-sequel to the Lord of the Rings, which is, in that case, it is part of the Lord of the Rings.
No, it's not. It's its own thing. You could put it together. It would work chronologically. I don't know what you'd call it because The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy are all separate books.
But then you're just telling me you wanted it in one thing, though.
Your point?
So then it would be all 6 movies. Oh, 7 in some cases if you count the.
Your point?
My point is it all be in one thing then. And it wouldn't be a marathon.
And why were you trying to make that point? What does that have to give to this conversation right now?
Mm-hmm. I'm just stating my
Then it's not a point!
That's your opinion.
You're telling me that anything that you say is a point and you don't have to have a reason for it. You can just be like, and it's a point. It has merit if you go, I don't know.
I don't know what you want me to say, because if I say something, you're just going to get angry at me again.
That's a real good excuse for not having an actual point.
I have proof of it. I literally have proof of you doing that. You already argued with me about how I...
Right now, you're changing the conversation topic because you don't want to continue it.
You were arguing with about...
Because you can't continue it. Because the only point you can make at this point is, it'd be all 6 movies. You said that.
I'm not caring about this conversation anymore. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm done with this already.
I was hoping that you'd understand.
I was hoping you understand too, but I guess that didn't.
What do you want me to understand? How would it be different?
How is it any different?
Your response to me asking that was, when I say The Lord of the Rings, it implies only one of the movies.
Yeah, you're talking. You wanted all 3 movies basically as one thing. You want to call it as one thing. That's what I'm getting from what you're telling me. That you wanted it all as one thing to go. But you still want it to count as a marathon. Even though it wouldn't to me. And
when the fuck did I say that?
When you kept arguing saying that, well, how come it's not a marathon? Why wouldn't it be a marathon? Why does
How is me asking that, rhetorically by the way, imply that I said, in any way, shape, or form, that I wanted it to still be considered a marathon?
I don't know. Why are you still arguing?
The point I'm trying to make is that your definition of marathon and your implied meaning when you say things like, oh, when I talk about Lord of the Rings, it just means X, Y, or Z, not just the Lord of the Rings as a franchise of, or the trilogy of, is pointless. It doesn't work that way. A marathon is just about doing a long run. A marathon is just about doing a long thing. It doesn't matter if you divide it or have to switch the discs in the middle. If you packaged all of it, you can even include The Hobbit if you really want to, or the unfinished scripts for the Lord of the Rings sequel. And it could all be on one fucking medium, and you wouldn't have to pause or switch anything out between. It'd still be a fucking marathon because it'd be long as shit. And you'd have to sit there and focus for a long period of time. Because that's what a marathon is. I'm not saying I give a shit about calling it a marathon because the experience would not fucking change at all. You are now trying to tell me what I'm saying. You are trying to put words in my mouth.
I'm wrong and right about.
Because this is a matter of quantification and classification and implied terminology. You also just tried to tell me that saying the Lord of the Rings in general as a phrase includes the Hobbit.
I was trying to say about the part of the Lord of the Ring when you're saying you wanted it all as one thing.
You're trying to change the conversation in weird ways to suit your opinions. This isn't about opinions.
You are literally interrupting me when I try to finish what I'm saying.
You're the person telling me you don't care for the conversation anymore. Why are you still being bothered by being interrupted?
Then why are you caring about the conversation?
I told you why I care.
And I'm just annoyed with you arguing with me. So that's
You're annoyed, so you care.
I'm annoyed. I don't care.
Then stop being annoyed.
I'm annoyed.
Stop being a hypocrite.
Now you're telling me.
Pick a lane.
Gee, that'd be so much easier if you could do the same too sometimes.
I am very consistent in my lane right now, and you're ignoring it and trying to put words in my mouth so that it sounds like I'm doing 2 different things when I'm clearly not. You can't reconcile that.
You're trying to force me into the lane.
I'm not trying to force you into a lane. I'm trying to figure out why you're not picking one clear sense of logic. Because instead of doing any of that, you're trying to put words in my mouth and you're trying to change the subject entirely.
No, you still know how I do a lot of things.
You're avoiding that by saying that instead. Again, changing the subject. Being passive-aggressive. You don't have a single point to make. And when I ask you what your point is your answer.
You're great at telling me how I do things. I should probably have you as my life coach. You can tell me how I do everything.
And you call me the dick. You call me the dick for actually having something to say. Something to prove. And you ignore all of it, and you become passive-aggressive. You don't care about your points. You say you don't care, yet you're still annoyed.
I am. I'm so annoyed.
I know I'm a dick. At least I'm consistent. Relatively. Except when I'm a compulsive liar. Only on weekends. What was I doing? Oh yeah. Oh, so that's how they do it. You're cute, but you're kinda ugly. I don't know how I feel about you. I feel like putting on music. Do I have anything to put on?